Hello, dear friends, and welcome to the next horrific episode of Random Rhapsody's Sonnet of Blood. I am Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and game master for this Curse of Strahd playthrough. And joining me around my virtual table tonight are Brandie, Dyto, Joe, Marty, and Natalie. Say hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hola.
Hello. Hi.
Now, before we begin, we do have a few announcements to get through, starting with the first of our two sponsors for tonight's show, Hero Forge. Marty?
Hey, Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop miniatures with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from. Their easy-to-use design tool lets you build your perfect miniature online using a fully 3D in-depth character creator right in your web browser, which is where we built our tokens for this evening's game. You can build your own today at heroforge.com.
Thank you, Marty. Our second sponsor for tonight's show is XSplit. XSplit is a high-quality virtual webcam background remover that works with your already existing webcam. Using this program, you can protect your privacy while you work or play remotely. You can blur, remove the background entirely, or even put your favorite picture as your background instead. You can download the app today at xsplit.com. And if you use coupon code RANDOM with a capital R, you can get 10% off of your purchase, which also goes to help sponsor the show here. You can find our referral link in the chat and show descriptions. Last but not least, don't forget that we have our regular campaigns, which will be back to their regular schedules this Monday. We've got the Debauchery Circus at 3 p.m. Central and the Fab 5 at 7 p.m. Central. This week, I'm also playing in the Trans versus All on the Table TTRPG series, where I'm playing Yehoshu, the Forge Cleric, in the Light of Cinders campaign. You can find them at twitch.tv/thetransverse. Now you can keep up to date on everything we do here on Random Rhapsody by following us on Facebook as Random Rhapsody TV and on Twitter as @random_Rhapsody. And that should do it for the announcements. So join us as we dive into the land of Barovia and continue on with the Conclave expedition as they attempt to survive a sonnet of blood. And we're back. So, as I've mentioned before, in this campaign, we do our recaps by having somebody in the cast volunteer to tell us about the last session. And when they do, they get the Random Rhapsody coin, which they can redeem during the session for one free Nat 20. And yeah, if I do the recap, I get it as well. And nobody wants that. Of course, nobody wants that. So somebody always volunteers to do the recap. And today, that's going to be
Cog.
Okay. Well, Cog, why don't you tell us what happened last week or last session?
Well, we made it out of the house. We're alive, barely. And we noticed that our dear friends Sunny and Cher are dead. Now, I should say that Sunny and Cher are our donkeys, not the singers, although I think one of them is dead. He hit a tree. But that's beside the point. Speaking of trees.
Oh.
All right. Good
You
start.
shouldn't. You should encourage me with laughter, okay? It's really
You're
bad.
gonna earn that coin today.
Speaking of trees, over in the tree off to the side of the house, there was a man hanging there. Clearly dead. Wasn't there when we got there. And our friend Vide decided to approach the body. Actually, was it Vide? One of us. I don't remember if it was Vide or if it was the tall blonde bombshell, Danika. But someone found a note on this poor person that was from the Burgermeister of Jova, crying out for his daughter had suffered a nasty wound of some kind, asking for help from a Dr. Van Richten. We don't know who he is yet. Wonder if we'll find him on our way. We're tidying up, getting things from the cart, when all of a sudden, as it always happens, the hate for short people reared its ugly head, and Vide shot me. Don't know why. Said he had some kind of a vision, but he still shot me. It's very unprofessional. His boyfriend, luckily Big Green saved me. Thank you. That's young love. What can you say? Anyway, stitched up my wounds. We got moving. And we had to walk now because, of course, our donkeys are dead. Kept hearing howling and wolves in the distance. And we get to a big open clearing as we're going. We see a sign that says Jova. And we're like, hey, that's where the Burgermeister is. Let's go there. And all of these wolves kind of show up. And then Blondie just starts barking at them. It was very odd. Barking, yipping, howling. Like, I think she was possessed, but somehow it worked and they let us go. Still don't know where that one's going. I hope to find out. We get to Jova. First real person we talked to who is alive was a dick. Obviously, the short people hate here in Barovia is very alive and well, unlike its citizens. Kicked us out of his shop, didn't want us around. Apparently, I was an asshole. I didn't see it. And then we hear a woman crying, and of course, being the gluttons for punishment that we are, we went and found out what was going on. But it wasn't bad. Well, I mean, it was bad for her. Her daughter's missing. But that's beside the point. She was actually a very nice woman, very informative. Asked us to help find her daughter, gave us a creepy doll. Something about, what is it, Marty? Go ahead.
What's that?
What was the saying on the doll that you love saying?
Oh, it's no
Urzak.
fun. It's no Blinsky.
There we go. That's the one. She said we should look for a gentleman named Ismark, who is the son of the Burgermeister, and actually, I think she said the brother of I assume he's the brother of the girl, Irina, that we're supposed to be, that the Burgermeister was calling out for help for. So we are going in search of him. She said he's probably drunk at the tavern, which he has been apparently greatly drinking lately, and we're going to go find out from him what we can do to help find this woman's daughter. And we're not dead! Yay! But the short people hate is pervasive. We need to fight against this. In my next... Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not being president. I was going to tell you about my next term, but... That'll be later.
That's just terrifying.
Cog for president.
When we get out of this place, I'm running the Conclave.
New Sonnet of Blood merch. We just need Cog for president. Whatever year it is.
I can make this happen.
Wonderful.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be great. We're gonna make the posters like those, like you see, like in the dystopian video games of the past. It's gonna be like me faded in the background. It just says Cog. And that's all it's gonna say. It's gonna be awesome.
Okay. Well, expedition members. As you said, you've left the townhouse of Mary and are currently heading towards the inn or the tavern, which you had passed when you first entered the town square. You remember that it was called the Heart and the Soul, which you noticed as you passed. Now, as you make your way north along the village streets towards the town square, you pass these dilapidated, dark buildings. Shutters are all closed. The ones that don't have them are curtains, dark inside. You're sure there's somebody in there. You hear scuffling every so often as you pass a house. But beyond that, it's very, very quiet as you're walking up the street. But as you get near that crossroads, a sound pierces through the otherwise mournfully quiet village. It sounds like it's coming from the west, possibly from just down the street. And as you make your way around that last building and kind of look down there, you can see what appears to be at first a small child skipping their way along the middle of the cobblestone street. And the sight makes you pause, because as you've been here for a little while, nobody has come out into the street at all. But this child seems to be just skipping along. But as it gets a little closer, most of you have a pretty decent a vision, and you see that it is not, in fact, a child at all. It's a goblin with a large grin and bright orange eyes, who seems to be waving his hands about. Now, as he's doing this, skipping along, waving his hands, he opens this very wide mouth, and he lets out this just really loud, piercing singing. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Are your nostrils a-quiver and tingling as well for that delicate, luscious, ambrosial smell? Yes, you are, I can tell. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this aroma enriching the breeze is like nothing compared to its succulent sources the gourmets among you will tell you, of course. And, your jaws all just drop as this loud, kind of grating voice comes out of this creature, but he seems to be singing. Yes, there is definitely a goblin singing in a loud voice as it skips down the cobblestone lane. Now, as this is happening, you notice that doors are beginning to open. Shutters are opening as well, and curtains are drawn. And for the first time, you can see people actually looking out their windows and doors. What do you do in that situation?
Are they looking with excitement, or are they a little apprehensive and scared, or are they super excited to see whatever this goblin's got?
Make a perception or an insight check.
You're both 3, so we will just go with...
And as you're doing that, you're... It's difficult to tell, because this is the first time you've actually seen people. Real people beyond, the asshole in the general store. But all of them are human. Most of them are dour, somber-looking people with very... I guess the word I'm looking for here is just depressed faces. Oh. Even with a nat 1, you can see that, but... Wait. Yeah? Halfling. You're a halfling.
Halfling luck. Halfling luck. I was just yes. That's not going to be the... Alright, 13 is better.
Okay, 13. That is a lot better, so I can keep going with my description here. You're looking at them, and, all of them look depressed and just, almost dead inside to your eyes, but at the sight of this goblin, they at least look hopeful? No? Resigned, maybe? But there's definitely a reaction there. Now, behind this goblin singing, who, by the way, is coming up on the next chorus as they're saying, "You can't imagine the rapture in store, delivered right to your door." Now, behind this goblin, you can see what appears to be a handcart being pushed in a rickety sort of fashion along the cobblestone streets behind. It's got a bit of a roof on it, and there is a very enticing aroma being carried along the breeze towards you all. It smells delicious. You're smelling slightly a sweet and savory aroma. There's a bit of pastry in the air. And none of you really had very good breakfast. Like, you had a bit of a meal in the inn's dungeon. You had a time for a little snack when you rested in the barn, but then you've just walked for several hours, and it's getting to the point where it's close to like 11:30-ish in the day, almost noon, and everyone's stomachs grumble as this little old woman, hunched over, wearing nothing but rags, seems to be pushing this cart along behind the goblin, who is still singing. Here your sample, Mrs. Lord Morgan's dream pies, savory and sweet pies, as you'll see. You who eat pies, Mrs. Morgan's dream pies, conjure up the respite that you seek.
It's so good. Danika's gonna take out her flute and kind of play a little bit of music to go along with this chorus.
Absolutely. Make a performance check for me.
Maybe she starts doing that. Kai's gonna be like, Vide, this little one you can kill. It's like, I won't be upset.
I got a 24.
Yeah, with your 24, you begin playing along, and you're catching the melody. It's not complicated. It's a very simple one that this goblin is very piercingly butchering, that you all heard a few moments ago. But your flute playing easily makes up for those sharp false notes that the creature was giving off, and it actually sounds very, very nice. Like, the goblin kind of stops and looks over at you as you can see behind. The woman stops as well, and people are starting to come out of houses in like 1 and 2s and 3s. But the goblin starts skipping up to you and kind of dances along as you're playing and keeps singing with you. It's a very weird duet. A goblin singing along with Danika here. But it's definitely enjoyable? I don't know.
Danika's gonna turn to the goblin. Sing it out, sonny boy. Sing it out.
Oh, he definitely does. This goblin is bald of head, but wearing kind of like garish clothing, but it's also really dirty and mud-stained. And he seems very proud as he's singing along with you. The rest of you see this odd display in the middle of town. It's so out of place and bizarre. But as the goblin finishes singing, he looks up at you, Danika, and he says, "Wow, you were really good playing. That was impressive."
Well, don't mind if I do. Thank you.
You know, for a performance like that, you deserve a pie for free. I'm sure a lot more people are coming to buy it now because of you. Hold on 1 minute. And he turns and goes skipping off, running over to the little old lady who, there's about like 3 or 4 people now standing around her, and you see them pass over a coin. She takes a pastry and puts it in a little paper sack and hands it over to them one at a time. She goes. The goblin kind of scurries over to her. She bends down and listens for a moment, and then looks up at your group. This is a human woman. You can all see her. Big, just a big old bun around the top of her head that's just perfectly gray hair. Like picture, what's the woman, the old lady from Spirited Away? That chick.
Baba Yaga.
Yeah, kind of like that vibe a little bit.
Yo,
Big
Baba.
long nose, big old mole on her nose, big bun of white and gray hair, wearing very shoddy old clothes. She listens to the goblin for a second, takes a pie, wraps it up and gives it to him, and he comes scurrying over and just gives a big old grin as he's holding this up to you, and he says, "Mrs. Morgan said that you can have this."
Oh, well, thank you. Tell Mrs. Morgan thank you too. I'll introduce the group to you, and I'm gonna call everybody over.
No.
Except for
Yeah,
Cog.
What are y'all doing?
What is everybody doing? That's the real question.
I think Delphine is still just trying to take everything in because even though she hasn't been here long, she knows this is weird.
Yeah, you have truly flabbergasted me.
I just broke my entire group. I'm very happy for that. You're welcome.
What is happening?
Was that too much? Was that too over the top for you, Marty?
No, it was good. I was just not expecting that. Minute one.
Okay, serious face.
What's in this pie? I gotta know.
Give it a try. They're really, really good.
Mm,
They make your dreams come true.
That's probably the most suspicious thing I've heard today.
Can't hear you, Brandie.
You're muted.
Am I now?
There you
Nope,
go.
you're good.
Now we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I was trying to fix the other audio issue that I apparently have, and I did not. Anyway, oh yeah, I was saying we've heard a lot of suspicious things today. So it was just, follow up to his.
But
yes.
this is
Yes.
by far the most suspicious
Yes.
thing I've heard today.
Yeah. Sorry, when it was that far past, it loses the
Yeah,
whole.
we're the only thing that can bring people out of their house is a pastry and a goblin singing badly.
Oh, I
That's
mean, come on now, give him a little credit.
No.
Well,
She,
okay, Danika made it better.
I just don't. I mean, did you make the pie or did she make the pie? And he's pointing at the old, the hag, old lady looking.
Oh
thing.
no, I don't make the pies. I'm just here to get everyone's attention for Mrs. Morgan. Mrs. Morgan makes all the pies. She's the best baker in Barovia.
I do have one question. Above this pie shop, is
So
there?
it's not a pie shop. It's a little hand
Cart.
cart that this old woman is pushing down the road. And actually, by this point, now that you kind of glance over that, like I said, just a cart, 2 wheels, little box thing with poles in the back end for her to lift up. It has then a roof over the top of the whole thing.
Picture Poe
Okay.
and his noodle cart in the first movie.
Okay, never mind. Because I was just gonna ask if there's like a barber shop above this pie shop, but it's a cart, so that doesn't work.
No barbershop on top of it, unfortunately. But
Danika.
Unfortunately.
Danika is gonna turn to the little goblin, and she's going to ask him what his name is. I don't think we caught his name.
oh, my name is Toby. It's really nice to meet you. Nobody ever asked me that.
Well, it's nice to meet you too, Toby.
Toby's my new best friend.
As you say that, you hear the old woman calling back, Toby! Come on now, there's plenty more pastries to sell. And she's the few people that were at the cart buying them have all moved away by now. You see them kind of slowly trudging back to their homes. There's a look of, like, it's not despondency, but it's more I don't know, what's a slightly more hopeful than despondency. They look like depressed and beaten down, and their lives just suck. But holding this pastry, this bag in their hands, they seem just a little bit happier. And like couples are kind of huddling together, looking at the bag as they walk into their homes. It's a unique sight, to be sure.
Huh.
But the old woman is moving her cart along and coming up to your group where Toby is standing. And she says, now, Toby, now, it was very nice of these people to play along with you, but if they're not going to buy any pastries, we better get on.
Yeah,
we
I
just
don't
got
have
a
any money.
free pie, I thought.
You do have a free pie. Would you like another? They're only 1 gold apiece.
You know what? I am all out of gold. I'll have to catch you next time.
Yeah,
Danica's gonna take out 1 gold and she's gonna buy another pie.
Oh, thank you very much, dear. Yes, of course. Let me get that for you. And she starts packaging it up for you and passes you this. And she says, now you eat that right up, dearie. This is the best pie in Barovia.
Oh, well, thank you. And then she's gonna introduce herself. Toby was telling me your name is Mrs. Morgan. Nice to meet you.
That's right, Mrs. Morgan. That's my name. It's lovely to meet you, Danika.
Oh, Mrs. Morgan, where do you set up shop if we ever want to get some more pies?
Oh, well, I'm usually here every few days, but if you travel north along the Sauvage road, we're about halfway to the town of Viros.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. That's good to know.
You're very welcome. Would any of the rest of you like one before we move on?
No, thank you.
Vide will pass as Vide has no money.
I'm a little tight on the money.
I will pass, but thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
Mrs. Morgan, before you leave, can you tell us a little bit about this town? This is our first time here.
I suppose so, dear. She's kind of thinking to herself. Go ahead and make a persuasion check for me. Though I don't know why I bother with Danika.
I got a 17.
So you have
17, yeah.
So technically it's an 18. And for those of you at home, the town that she said is Viros. Veros.
I almost had it spelled right. Dang it.
I forgot to pop them out on the map, so I might as well just do that.
While you're doing
There
that,
it is.
Kai's gonna be slapping like Urzak's leg. He's
Look
like,
at Toby.
he's kind of whisper to him to get down here. He's like, we have to talk to her about being so joyful and like shouting names everywhere we go. This place is pretty messed up. That could be. I don't trust the goblin, and obviously I don't trust the woman because she is associated with the goblin.
Oh, well, that's just discrimination.
Hey, I'm whispering this to Urzak, please.
Make a stealth check, Cog.
I should burn the 20 right now. Oops. What? Oh, well, I mean, he's whispering. He's not. He's like, he got him to lean down, so he's not really moving. Would that still, because he is wearing armor, because he's a cleric.
I'm
So it's
gonna
up to
give
you
you
if you wanna
that. I'm
take-
gonna
yeah.
give you that one because it's not a movement thing, and so
Yeah.
that your armor would not count in that. So that one I will give you.
Okay.
So
the
what was the
only-
total then?
18. It's the only one I'm gonna win all campaign.
Well, you won the argument anyway.
Ah.
However, not only, well, actually, most of the people don't hear you. At least your friends don't. However, the goblin looks over you and he says, "What do you have a problem with goblins for?"
Yeah, that's kind of
You're not a jovial bunch.
what the
What do
hell?
you mean
man?
we're not a jovial bunch? I'm quite jovial.
Yeah, it's the problem.
He kind of
He's like,
glances
"What are you
at the.
offering, man?"
Yeah, he's glancing at the rest of you.
Have
and
you
he's
not
like,
noticed
"The-
the cog
does
is a
it?"
horrible person?
He's terrible.
What's up with your friend? Like, does he just have a problem against goblins?
He's just, you know what? I guess he's just like this. And I'm
I'm
learning
sure.
a lot.
Danica's gonna look Toby in the eye, and she's gonna be like, she's gonna put her hand over her heart, and she's gonna be like, Short Stack over there has faced a lot of discrimination because of his height, and I think sometimes it gets the better of him. Nothing against you, Toby. He's just cranky sometimes.
He's like doing this right now with
Hey,
With
hey,
cog,
hey,
like,
hey, I
measuring-
am taller. Your ears don't count.
I mean, they kind of do.
Hey, you know what? Yeah,
Yeah,
those are accessories in my book. Sorry.
I mean, you've got pretty big ears too.
You know what? But they don't go past the top of my head, do they?
No, but all that fuzz does.
You don't talk
Danica,
about the name.
Danica's gonna give Toby a little wink, and she's gonna be like, "See, he's sensitive."
Hey,
This
this
was
was
sensitive.
the most beautiful lock of hair you're ever gonna see, buddy. Horse and mane. It's this horse and mane stuff. It's used for horses, but it works great.
So, Mrs. Morgan, like at first, seemed to be willing to talk to y'all a little bit, but you can see she's starting to get a little bit of an irritated look on her face, and she says, "Now, Toby, this is getting a little too long. We have plenty more pastries to sell, and I want to get them sold while they're still hot. So unless the rest of you plan on buying more pastries, I'm afraid we're going to have to move on."
Tell you what, as a means of apologizing, what was the town you said you're just outside of? Maybe we'll stop by if our travels bring us by.
Outside the town of Varos, dear.
Varos, gotcha.
Well, I don't know why she started sounding like one of the guys from Monty Python in drag, but that's somehow where she ended up, and
You know,
I'm fine with that.
Since I know it's you doing the voice, that's what I was picturing anyway. So
Hey, you know what? I'm good with that.
Hey, Danica has one more question for Mrs. Morgan.
All right, dear. What do you need before we go?
Mrs. Morgan, on our way here, you know, we encountered some wolves out there, and well, it seems like you're traveling too. Did you encounter any, or do you have any tricks of the trade to kind of avoid them?
Writing that 18 that you rolled. Let's see. She leans in close, and she kind of waves a hand to you to come near her.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go near her. Okay.
You walk over and you kind of lean close, and as you do, like, her breath is rancid. Like, picture old lady breath at its absolute worst, and then kind of triple it, and like rotting teeth and just that sickly sweet aroma of perfume that's well past its prime. That's kind of the whiff you're getting off this woman, along with a heavy, heady amount of BO.
Okay.
But yeah,
Deep
but
breath.
but she says to
Maybe
you,
not a deep breath.
I lost my train of thought. Anyway,
What did she say?
she says to you, the wolves in Barovia are very, very dangerous, dear. They're controlled and are loyal to the devil Strahd. He sees through them. He knows what they know. I steer clear of them by moving quickly and hiding whenever they draw near, because they are agents of the devil.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Morgan, for taking the time to let us know.
I hope to see you again soon, dear. Come along, Toby, let's go. And
Then-
Toby kind of, go ahead.
Can I wave to Toby? Bye, Toby.
Toby kind of looks at you all and says, "Goodbye. It was nice to meet you all." And then he looks over at Cog, and he flicks him off.
Yeah. Guy's just like, I'm gonna kill you one day. It's all right.
Danica's gonna run up to Toby and give her one of the pies that she had bought, the one that she had bought, and she's gonna go, Toby, I just wanted to make sure you had something to eat on your lunch break.
Oh, why, thank you. That's so nice. And he takes the pie from you, and he kind of pats you on the hand.
Okay, good luck.
You watch as the two of them kind of begin making their way.
As they walk away, can I just
Uh-huh.
do like a little divine sense on this old lady?
Divine sense on the old lady. I
Ah.
suppose so.
I do it. Is she like undead, fiend, celestial, even perhaps?
Let's see. Celestial, fiend, or undead. You're watching as she walks away, and you kind of open up your senses. And now, of course, the first thing that kind of clouds your senses is just the overwhelming sense of undead that just seems to permeate damn near everywhere around you. Or you're sensing them here, there, here, there, here. It's like ping, 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 ping. The woman continues on, and just at the edge of your awareness, you kind of focus as hard as you can. Give me a wisdom check.
Just a check, not like a saving throw or
Us-
anything?
I'll let you have a saving throw if you have proficiency in it.
Okay. Oh gosh, does exhaustion affect saving throws?
No, you only have 1 point. It only affects skill
Ability
checks.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. That's a 5.
For half a second, you thought there was something else. You were almost sure of it, but then she reaches the edge of your perception and moves on past it, calling out to people, or the goblins calling out to people, and it's difficult to tell because so much undead was just all around that for a second you thought something was there and you're almost sure of it, but just the amount of undeath that was there clouded over your vision and you're second guessing yourself. Was it just maybe you're perceiving that undead as well as everything else? You're not 100% sure.
Okay. Not what I was hoping for, but just them's the breaks.
Danica's gonna rely to everybody what Mrs. Morgan told her about the wolves, and then she's gonna hand the pie to the group and go, "Look, it, guys, I got us some pie."
I really just don't think we should eat this pie.
Delphine, you are fairly quiet through a lot of this exchange. but you were watching the whole thing, and I want you to make an insight check for me.
Can I? You know what? No, we pissed the last person off when I tried to use guidance. Okay, insight.
I mean, yeah, probably.
Yeah, but nobody's around us now, right? Like, it's just
11.
us.
I don't know, people being real weird in the streets. 11.
So, with your 11, you just have this uneasy feeling. You, for a moment, as that woman was walking by, you were sent back to your childhood. Looking up at, well, not a very nice person, but somebody who certainly had an impact on your early life. And for a moment, you're just brought back to that kind of awe of power. That makes sense?
Yeah. How far away did Toby and Mrs. Morganson, how far away are they at this point?
Let's say you've kind of been standing there for about 5-6 minutes watching them go by, so they're probably a good 120 feet away by this point.
Who's a bit sneaky?
You're right.
Sorry, they're further than that. They're about 210 feet away.
Damn.
Is anybody particularly sneaky?
No.
I feel like I might be particularly sneaky. What do I need to have for that? Stealth. I got a +6 in stealth and an 8.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sneaky.
Yeah, you're stealthier than me. I only get +3.
Cog will just dance around. Clink, 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 clink. Yep, not me.
I'm gonna cut off one of my locks. I'm gonna hand it to Danika. Do you think you can like get this on one of the persons? I don't know. Just I had this feeling as they were walking away.
Uh oh. Does it have to be? I'll try my best. Okay.
or you're friends with Toby. Maybe it's a gift.
Oh. Well, I'll do my best. Hey, DM, what was Toby wearing when we saw him?
What was Toby wearing? He was wearing kind of like dark blue trimmed in yellow pants and a little jacket and kind of a brown stained shirt underneath. It was all kind of mud stained and worn, but you could at least see the colors.
Was there any like thing where I could like any pockets or hoods where I could slip the lock of hair?
Yeah, the goblin definitely had kind of pockets there in the front of the vest or jacket that he was wearing. You're not sure about any pockets on the pants, but you definitely saw those.
Okay, I am gonna use my urchin background in like the city streets so I can catch up to them. I don't know where they are, but I'm gonna use my urchin city streets thing.
What urchin city streets thing? Tell us about this.
So that's my background, and it says that you know all the secret patterns and the flow of cities, and you can find the passages through the urban sprawl, which others would miss. When you aren't in combat, you and also your companions you lead can be able to travel between any two locations in the whole city twice as fast as your speed would normally allow.
Okay, yeah, so basically you're looking for those little holes that are in the fences that you can slip into really quickly and weave around the buildings to kind of get around to where they're going to be. That way you can be there when they get there. Is that basically what you're trying to do here?
Yeah, I want to catch up to them.
Okay. Now, when you catch up to them, are you planning on being stealthy and like dropping this in the pocket as they pass? Are you wanting to go up and talk to the goblin and try to slip it in then? Are you trying to do it a different way than either of those, like using magic or something? Explain to me what your thought process is.
I wanted to join up to him, and I'm gonna ask Toby and Mrs. whatever her name is, Mrs. Morgan, if I can play my flute with them a bit. Just for a little bit, just because I missed some musical entertainment for a while. And then after, if they give me the okay or the no, well, I guess, am I there? Are you Mrs. Morgan now?
I'm not Mrs. Morgan, no. Whoa.
Right.
No, so So you're planning on like going up there and trying to play along with them as they're going down the street?
And then before we leave, I'm going to give Toby a hug and try to slip it in his pocket.
Okay, so are you just you want to do one song with them, give him a hug and slip it in his pocket and then peace?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to like spend some time with them?
Maybe like a little bit, not too long. I don't want to like leave my friends for too long.
Okay. And so what are the rest of you all doing as Danika explains this plan that she's about to do and then goes slipping off? Or are you just going to hang out here in the street and watch?
I want somebody.
Or are you going to do something?
Can somebody from the group kind of follow me to make sure I'm safe?
I was kind of planning on.
Follow. I'll try and follow.
Okay.
Yeah, I can follow as well. I'll just be kind of, hang back. But
Green, I guess we're going with. Can't have half the group walk.
I feel like that would kind of ruin the whole.
Yeah, I get it. Well, you know what? How about we go to the bar and
I
talk
feel like Delphine and Vide are like staggered. Like one of us is a certain distance behind, and then the other person is like behind them.
Yeah,
I feel like we're on opposite sides of the road too.
We can go to
You can hear anything in this town if you're loud enough. So if you need something, just shout particularly loud. So.
I guess we can hang out back here. We can go check out the bar if you want. But Vide, if you need to reach out and touch the goblin, it's like, you know what I mean, all right? Got to touch him right here though. He's just pointing to his forehead. It's like, you got to do it right there, or he's gonna remember.
I think I understand.
I mean, shoot him like you did me. All right. Just remember that. Remember the rage when you turned around and you saw someone who was so short that you just had to shoot him this morning. Feel that rage and shoot him if you have to.
Before Danika leaves to go on this journey, Danika's gonna go up to Short Stack, and she's gonna hand him her little wrapped pie, the one that she got, and she's gonna be like, Short Stack.
Thank you.
Eat a Snickers.
I feel like just the rest of the town is going.
He's a Hershey's Kiss, all right? That's what he is.
No,
he's not
you're
the whole
not
chocolate
you when you're
bar.
hungry.
Oh my god.
But really, Danika's gonna say Short Stack. It seemed like everybody in the town was a little bit happier when they had one of these. See if you can use it as a bargaining chip, or trade it for something.
All right, I suppose.
Okay.
I really don't trust him. I know you guys think I'm crazy, but I don't trust. Goblins are not the happy race. He's an oddball. I've read so much about the history of them in Europa. It is not good. He's like, so he's just gonna kind of, if you're kneeling down, he's gonna reach up and just kind of like put his little hand on your face, and he's gonna cast guidance on you for when you get up there. He's like, I know it'll last a minute, but if you get up there quick enough, maybe you could use it. He's like, just be careful.
Okay, thanks, Short Stack. And she's gonna take her cloak of many fashions and make it sparkle and go.
If you hear a gunshot, you know there's trouble.
I know the goblin's dead. That's good. Yes, thank you.
We hope the goblin's dead.
Well, if she aims like she did when the rage filled his heart this morning, we'll be fine. As you give the finger gun to Vide. Like, it's like you know what to do.
Okay, well, it sounds like Danika, then Delphine, and then Vide are going to hurry forward trying to catch up to Mrs. Morgan and Toby. They're basically doing the same shtick they did when they first arrived. I broke your brains the first time, so I'm not going to do it again. But Toby's there skipping along, singing, and the old lady's kind of just pushing along the cart until somebody comes walking out from the house and tries to get a pastry from her. You come scurrying up very quickly. And Danika, you're just gonna pull out your flute and start playing?
No, I'm gonna, kind of wave them and ask. Oh, Toby, Mrs. Morgan, I was just wondering, I haven't been able to play my flute very much, and I had so much fun earlier. Do you think I could play with y'all a little bit longer?
You're gonna need to do another persuasion check here.
Okay.
You can burn that D4. Well, it's an 18 plus a D4.
Can I save it? Can I save it?
Well, it's only lasts for a minute.
Yeah, it only lasts a minute, so either you're going to use it soon or not.
So it's a 8. Yeah, let's use it. It's whatever. 18 plus a D4. 19.
Okay. Mrs. Morgan looks at you and she kind of scowls a little bit and she says, "That's quite all right, dear, but I think you are a little too loud for this. Toby does well on his own, and people around here, they don't like strangers. They don't like people not from around here. And I'm worried you're going to kill my business if you stick around."
Oh, no. Danika's gonna go up to Toby and she's like, "Toby, is it okay if I give you a hug? You just reminded me so much of my little brother. It just brought my heart to tears. I had lost him when he was younger. And can I just give you a hug before we go?" And she's gonna reach down and start giving him a hug.
Well, make a persuasion check. Consent is sexy.
Consent first.
Too bad for being consensual. Can I just do it?
Whoa!
I mean, if that's what you're going for here.
I don't mean it in a bad way. I just want it to happen. That makes it sound so much worse.
It really does. It really does.
I'm gonna stop talking. It's a 21.
What did you roll?
21.
So with your 21, Toby looks at you and he says, "Well, I guess so. You're pretty nice. I'm sorry Mrs. Morgan says you can't help us."
So she's gonna give Toby a hug and try to slip like the hair in the pocket.
Okay, I'm going to need I'm going to need that sleight of hand check.
Okay.
Against their perception check.
Sleight of hand. Where's my sleight of hand at?
It's under your stealth.
I got a 24.
Oh, it's a girl after Blood's heart. Oh.
Yeah, as you go in to hug him, go ahead and give me a perception check as well, but as you're hugging him, you slip your hand down and kind of around him, and he's very small, so you're kind of like crouching down a little bit to do this, and ends up getting a face full of bosom in the process, but you very easily manage to slip that piece of hair into his pocket.
Yes. Okay, it was a 16.
Okay. As you get back up and you're kind of happy with yourself. You managed to get that in the pocket. I do need to make one more perception check.
Oh,
real
no.
quick. Okay. Yeah, she does not seem to notice either. So she's more kind of scowling at you a little bit as you step away, but you feel fairly confident that neither of them noticed what you were doing.
Okay. Well, Danika's gonna wave. It was a pleasure meeting you two, and she's gonna start skipping off. I'm gonna meet back with my crew. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, the goblin is kind of waving as well. And Mrs. Morgan is looking very, sour, lips pursed, brow down, furrowed, as she stares at you all for a little bit as you all make your way back to the group. But you get back to your group.
Okay. Mission complete, guys.
Oh, good. Cool. Should we, I guess, head to the tavern?
Yeah, let's go find the son of the Burgermeister. Well, I guess the Burgermeister, since the Burgermeister is dead.
Ishmark the Lesser.
Okay. So you start making your way around to the tavern, which is there not far from the center of the street. As you do, you all kind of glance back, and I imagine just kind of stare a little bit at that odd couple as they make their way down and stop probably another 30 or so feet from where you left them as another couple comes walking out towards them. Most likely they're buying a pastry. So let's move you over here to the Heart and Soul Tavern. So, as you walk towards this large, kind of oblong-shaped building, it is a single-story structure of about maybe roughly about a 120 by 75 or so, you would guess, glancing at it. The building itself once appeared probably very nice and finely appointed. But as you look at it now, it's very clear it's grown shoddy over the years. The walls are roughly scarred with large scratches, handprints of mud or something darker, perhaps. The scrub of growth that's around the building itself is withered and very sickly looking, as though it's not cared for at all most of the time. Like, you can see there's big boot prints and, some other prints as well in the mud around the building. There is a sign hanging from one corner of the building, not far from the large double doors that lead into the structure itself. You can see that it says the Heart and Soul Tavern, HEART and SOUL. But as you get closer, all of you can see quite clearly that at one point the words had been carved in there, heart and soul, as in HART and SOLE. But at some point the E had been scratched next to the A U next to the I, and one of the E's scratched off entirely. So a name change? Weird. From the windows that you can see, there is a warm fire and a brightly lit tavern, but you don't hear much in the way of conversation or more preferably music that you would expect in most taverns in Loropa. But here, in the somber, dark location, this is actually a bit more apropos. You all make your way to the door and open it, and you are greeted by warm light. There is a blazing fire in the hearth that gives a little warmth, but not much to the room itself. But it is a welcome change from the chill of the day. There are a trio of individuals sitting around a table near the front of the tavern common room itself, and there's a bar directly opposite the double doors as you walk in. There is a man standing behind the bar itself. The man at the bar is he's tall, he's very lean, he has a big scruff of a gray beard and a completely bald head. But the eyes are what immediately draw your attention as you come walking in. The eyes are lifeless. They're just kind of there. He's sitting there. There's a row of cups along the front of the bar, and he has one of them in his hand with a bar rag, and he's just kind of sitting there slowly with that rag cleaning the inside of the mug. He doesn't seem to react very much to you all stepping foot inside. He just kind of looks up, looks down again, continues to wipe the mug. Now the trio at the table near the bar, on the other hand, all three of them look up and look you over as you all step in. These three are much more colorfully dressed than the people you've seen in this town before. They have bright blues and reds and greens and yellows, all adorning their outfits. There's two men and a woman. The woman has a kind of a shawl up over her hair, and you can't really see a whole lot, but you do see a very lean and pinched face. The two men that are along there with her, let's see here. The other two men are men. They kind of scruffy, bearded, long, lank, kind of greasy looking hair. One has a mustache, the other one does not. You've seen they seem kind of familiar, not in I've seen that face before, but their general vibe seems kind of familiar.
I think those are some of those hippies that brought us here.
Yep.
Maybe we should find out a little bit more of...
Did I make a note?
They do kind of look like the Vistani that you had encountered on your way out here. They're definitely a lot more colorfully dressed than the individual behind the bar, who he's kind of looks up at you again, doesn't stop wiping the glass, looks back down again as though he's just waiting for you to approach. But the other three at the table, they're definitely, their eyes are on you. Now, in the back corner of the bar, as you all kind of stand there and look about, there is another individual seated in the very back corner. This man is blonde of hair, much more plainly dressed, though you can see he has a coat and breeches on, as well as kind of one of those side cloaks, that you wear over the shoulder a little bit. He has a pitcher in front of him and a single mug, and you can tell with even your passive perception, which I believe the highest among you is a 13. You would be able to notice that the moment you all step closer to the bar, his eyes are on you as well. But what do you all want to do?
Do you ever feel like everybody's staring at you?
A little bit.
Yeah,
It's
most of the
okay.
time.
Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
Most of the time, they don't look down, so no.
So, Vide is going to go up to the bar, because if you want to get information about people, you talk to the barmaster, obviously. They hear everybody's stories. So he's going to sidle up to the bar, look at him, and be like, hey, I'm looking for some information on this Burgermeister guy.
As you say that and sit down at the bar stool, the man looks up at you. He says, "You want drink?"
I would really like a drink, but I'm telling you, I'm falling on hard times here. I don't have any money or anything. Would you be willing to help a guy out? And I'm gonna try to use this, the Heart of Darkness.
Okay, tell us about the Heart of Darkness.
So, it's for my background. Those who look into my eyes can see I've faced unimaginable horror, and I'm no stranger to the darkness. Though they may fear me, they'll extend kindness and courtesy to me to help me out. As long as I'm not, showing myself as a danger. So, yeah. Definitely not going to show myself as a danger to this guy.
Okay, I'm going to say that you can make a persuasion check with advantage because you lock eyes at this individual, these kind of hollow, dead sort of eyes, and there's this recognizing, almost a kinship a little bit there.
Okay, good thing I got that advantage, because, yeah. 13?
For a second, you see this hesitation, and then he very wordlessly, he sets the cup that he was wiping down in front of you, reaches under the bar table, and produces a bottle that he uncorks. But as he goes to pour in front of you, you hear from the table of the trio of Vistani, "What are you doing, Eric? You do not give wine without pay. You want to drink? You pay. 1 copper for a glass."
So close.
Well, you got some gold. You don't have to.
I have nothing. I used all my money on yeah. I used all my money on components for bullets.
Man,
Gunslinger's curse.
I'll toss you gold, and you can spare that out for the silvers and the coppers.
Line with that.
So yeah, he'll give you at least 1 gold, and you can start paying for stuff. Some with them.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you have a gold piece that Eric, apparently this guy's called, takes from you. And he then fills up the mug in front of you with a very, very, very dark red wine. He then goes under the counter once again, seems to be rummaging about, and gives you 9 silver and 9 copper pieces. He says then to you, "Pitcher of wine, 1 silver." And then he picks up another mug, begins wiping it, and just kind of looks down again.
Grab a picture, Vide. We'll
All right, I'll
we
grab
can
it.
share.
I'll grab a picture.
Okay. That's one silver piece for a pitcher of wine. He takes one from you, goes and gets a pitcher, just a clay pitcher, that he sits down in front of you, and he looks about the rest of your group, and he puts out 4 more of those mugs that he was polishing. He fills up the pitcher full of that same dark red wine. And as he's pouring it, there's that aeration, and the aroma of it hits all of your nostrils. It's fruity. It smells rich. It smells very, very sweet. But it also smells kind of potent.
I was going nuts today.
Raise me!
All right, I'm gonna grab the pitcher and a couple of the mugs, and ask, hey, can you guys grab the rest of the mugs here?
Is this just a drinking tavern, or is this an inn too? Do you have rooms?
Yes,
Asking that question, the woman at the table of Vistani stands up and walks over to you. She says, "You want rooms? Yes, we can provide rooms. We have how many rooms does they have? I forget. 4. We have 2 rooms available right now. They cost," and she kind of pauses and gives you a look up and down. 5 gold per person.
5 gold
Per person for 2 rooms?
That's a little steep. What if I am a musical entertainer? What if I put on a show for you? Can we get a discount?
She looks over to you and kind of gives you an up and down look as well. Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
This is gonna backfire. We're gonna have to pay like 8 gold a person or something.
You can't roll less than an 18.
Don't you, as a bard, have something that allows you to get free
That's
rooms?
performance.
Depends.
Oh, wait, which one am I doing?
background you took.
Persuasion.
Oh, my bad. Forgive me.
That's-
Can I persuade and then perform?
Well, she rolled a 10, so she kind of thinks for a little bit and she says, "Perhaps a performance is worth a room. It depends on how well you perform."
Do I have to re-roll my performance?
Are you going to do it right now? Because it's like in the middle of the day.
Oh, I guess I could wait till there's more people. I guess.
Well, you don't have to. You can just pull out your flute and start performing right now and you see what happens. It's up to you.
Hey, it could be a sneak peek of what she could do this evening.
Oh yeah, a little sneak peek, a little bit of pizzazz. I'm gonna whip out my drums instead.
Your drums.
Your drums. So you're basically just doing a drum circle right there in the middle of the bar?
Don't hate on my drum solo.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna let you keep that 25 performance, and there you are with a bongo drum and in the middle of the tavern, just tapping away as the rest of you kind of pour yourselves mugs of this wine, and it's an amazing performance. So much so, in fact, that the guy in the corner is kind of stood up and is watching as well.
Dude, I'm so excited.
Finally she says, "Very well. 2 rooms for the 5 of you, 5 gold total."
Well, sweet
That's
sugar.
more like it.
Yeah, it's like sweet sugar and spice. We'll take it.
You
I will
perform
pay
for us
the
tonight.
5 gold.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cog will give gold towards it too.
Oh,
You can
then
give
I'll
more
pay
if
4
we need
gold.
to. Oh, yeah, you don't have to give it all. Figure we could least split it somewhat.
Then I'll pay 1 gold.
No,
No, you get none of my money.
Well, we know
V-
Vide doesn't have any.
Vide can give 8 silver and 9 copper.
No,
The gold.
I can give a gold.
keep that.
Okay, I'll give a
Your
gold
chump
too.
change.
Yeah, well,
I've got some leather armor I'm not using. I can use that.
Kago he'll put up 2, so they're together we get 5.
Okay. Then very easily you hand over the 5 gold after arguing about who was going to take the check, but in reverse. And like this woman kind of has her an eyebrow raised and is watching this and is just like whatever. And
got
you
some
have
pocket
secured
money.
yourselves 2 rooms for the night here at the inn. And I think that's actually a good moment to pause so we can take a break.
Yay!
I already know how the room split is gonna go.
Boys and girls?
No.
I mean, shit, I can sit out.
Oh.
Obviously,
Well-
it's Vide and Urzak.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah,
And then the rest
Kag
of us
doesn't
were
want to
stuck
interrupt
together.
that.
I'll take a chair out into the hallway and keep walking.
Well, yeah, you are led to those 2 rooms. I'll go ahead and open up here, but and let you explore it while we're on break. But we are going to go on break, folks. So stick around for us, and when we get back, we're going to find out what the hell happens next. I don't even know at this point. It's going to be fun. Stay tuned. Howdy, everybody. We are back. It's been weird and fun, and let's jump on into it again. When we last left off, Danika was doing a bongo solo in the middle of the bar to get some very reduced price rooms for the night. As that concludes and the Vistani woman walks back over to her table, kind of shaking her head a little bit, you notice that man that was sitting in the corner has come over kind of hesitantly halfway to watch. And by this time, Vide and Urzak has made their way into the sitting room itself and is currently kind of just moving about, getting ready to sit down at the table. But as you take your places at the table, this man approaches. He is, well, let's go ahead and just show you. Yeah, so there you go. You see a kind of gaunt man with a very nice-looking chiseled jaw. He's a human. He has long blonde hair and very striking blue eyes. He's wearing a very nice overcoat that seems to be well worn. It's in very dark browns and grays shades. And now that he's actually standing there in front of you, he's holding his pitcher of wine that he had and the mug that he had as well. But you also notice that he actually has a long sword at his side and a short sword strapped to his back, just at the small of his back. He's the first person you've encountered that's actually visibly armed. He stands there at the table as most of you are now seated, and Danika is still kind of over trying to chat up the Vistani. But he looks at you all as you all look up at him, and he says, "Excuse me, Would you mind if I join you?
Sure. I suppose.
He kind of looks to the rest of you for consent as well.
Right.
Sure.
guys?
I mean-
Yeah.
Sure, yes.
By all means, have a seat. What's your name?
Please forgive me. He sits down the pitcher and the mug before taking the seat next to you. My name is Ismark. There are some who call me Ismark the Lesser. My father was the Burgermeister here in town, and many in town think of me as just another shade of him. But you all seem like you're from out of town. And I have not seen anyone from out of town in a very long time.
Yeah, you could say that. We're from very out of town. Yes.
He kind of looks over and looks at you, and this place, like every other place you've encountered since arriving in Barovia, is not scaled for a halfling. So, hobbit on the big stool at the table kind of vibes. Like you're kind of having to sit on your knees to be able to sit there at the table. And the mug is sized for a human as well. They didn't have one in your size.
I won't debase myself by being on my knees. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I will
Well-
sit and I will hold my mug like a gentleman.
Well, then if you're doing that, then he kind of has to stand up a little bit and look over
Well,
the
he's-
table at you.
Yeah, I'm down here, yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. You're right next to
He's
him.
sitting
aren't
right
you?
Oh,
next
yeah.
to
It's like, yeah,
I was
I
looking at Vide.
Like yep, down here.
Um, Yeah, he's just kind of. So anyway, he's still staring at you, and the reason I was looking at Vide's token. I apologize, but you're sitting right next to him, so he's looking down at you, and he says, "I am not going to lie. I've never seen one of your type before. Are you, as they call, the half-men?"
Well, you know what? That would be acceptable. Halfling would be the gender neutral term. But yes, it's sizest, I know. Halfling, like we're half creatures. We're a proud race, sir. But yeah, halfling, I will accept. My name is Cog.
It is very nice to meet you, Cog. I am Ismark, and the way I understand it, there was a licensing issue with the reason you have your name the way it is. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I heard that too. It was very interesting. You would think Guy Gax could have worked that out, but no.
Urzak's nose starts bleeding.
We're breaking the fourth wall today too. It's just happening.
Delphine leans forward on the table and kind of like cups her head in her hands and closes her eyes.
Anyway, we actually found a letter from your father. Unfortunately, the person carrying it had passed away in a very unpleasant manner. Do you know the individual we speak of?
He kind of looks at you a little bit confused.
The letter was requesting aid for your sake of your sister, and he was writing to a man named Dr. Van Richten. Does that name ring a bell?
He make a persuasion check with advantage.
15.
his eyes kind of go wide, and he says, my father sent a letter to
I
Van
don't know how long
Richten.
ago. Yeah, it
Do you have this letter?
Did we keep it or did we put it back?
Danika's gonna start rummaging in her pockets. I got it. Hold on. It was on a Mr. I think it was a Delvin Walensky. I think that's where we found it. And she's gonna pull out the little letter.
Yeah, Delphine is activating her eerie token that was planted on Toby. That's what she's doing. That's why she's got her eyes closed. Otherwise,
sorry, say that again. Say that again.
My hair is an eerie token, and I can use it to do remote viewing.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna get to that in 1 second.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that that's what I'm doing. She's not like
Gotcha.
necessarily being. She's being impolite, but she's not being impolite.
No, I get you. I'm going to answer what's going on here first, and then I'm going to cut over to that because that's an interesting thing in and of itself. So, as you produce this letter, Ismark takes it and opens it up and kind of lays it out and looks it over. And you see his eyes go wide, and he's... My morning lord, dear. This was written on the day before he died. My God, this is my father's last request. And Van Richten. He would write to Van Richten.
So you know the name. I've never heard that name before. We're not, well, like I said, we're not from here.
He kind of leans in and he motions to all of you, and he says, I do know this name. It is not a name that should be spoken out loud. At least not here. And he nods his head over to the table of the Vistani, all of whom are well into their cup of wine, but it doesn't take much of a perception to know that they're very clearly watching your table right now.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Danika's gonna throw him a little wink, and she's like, "You want to take it back to my room?"
Oh.
His face just goes beet red at that. And we're going to switch scenes real quick because Delphine. Now, your piece of hair is a focus that you can basically scry on. Like, what are the limitations of this?
Yeah, they have to be within 10 miles. I'll post it in the chat.
Okay. If you're within 10 miles of the token, you can enter a trance as an action. The trance lasts for 1 minute, but it ends early if you dismiss it. Or if you're incapacitated. During the trance, you can see and hear from the token as if you were located where it is. While you are using your senses at the token's location, you're blinded and deafened when the trance ends. So, okay, it's kind of sensing what's around it. I doubt it has as much of a range as like the scry spell itself.
No.
But it's at least aware of a little bit of what's around. And
I mean, if it's in a pocket, I can't see anything, but I should be able to hear stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was getting at here. So you are able to see like a little bit, like the pocket is open and you can see upwards and you can see out of the pocket and see, the gray sky first and foremost. And you don't hear Toby singing. In fact, it's rather quiet in this moment. You can see his arms kind of flap a little bit and some tapping of his foot. And for like the first few seconds of this, it's very dull. It's not really that interesting. But as that first minute kind of concludes, you hear a voice, a very high-pitched sounding voice, adolescent sounding, saying, no, please, no, don't take me, no! And then your vision fades.
Delphine's gonna, like, startle, like, kind of, like, knock her chair over a little bit, like, waking up from a bad dream. Are we having an important discussion?
Right at that moment, that's about when Danika you hear Danika say, hey, you want to go to my room? And then you look up right at Ismark's face to see it just turn bright beet red.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has blonde hair, like platinum blonde hair. And the contrast of that beet red face, it's very, very visibly clear.
Danika's gonna lift her drink, making it look like she's taking a big sip, and she's gonna be like, "Ooh, this is some strong stuff."
Speaking of which, has anyone actually tried the wine? It's quite good.
No.
Yeah.
I do.
Vide is taking a sip of it.
Okay.
Because I pushed my chair over when I startled myself, I'm gonna lean in close to Urzak, because Danika and Ismark are having a moment.
Well, while that's happening, Pink Sheet Geek has redeemed a hydration check. So everyone have some drinking as everyone, or at least Vide and Urzak, tries the wine.
That Toby guy, goblin, they're taking a kid.
What?
They're taking a kid. Kid doesn't want to go somewhere.
Do you know, like, are they still in town?
They've got to be within 10 miles or my thing wouldn't have worked.
I would say we should do something about that, but I don't know. I'm, like, tapped out for the day.
I know.
Well, if we can you do that more than once?
I won't be able to do it again today.
Okay. Let's...
We know where they are. Outside of that city.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be tomorrow's problem.
It might have to be. As unfortunate as that is.
But at least we know what's going on. And, that Miss Morgan might be more than just an old lady.
Oh, for sure. There's something not right about that lady.
Think old and fey.
Yeah.
So while that little side conversation's going on, Ismark is kind of just blubbering a little bit. Well, I appreciate the offer, but I have much bigger concerns right now. As you've heard, as I've said, my father has passed away no more than 3 days ago. While that is tragic, that's not where my concern lies. My concern is my sister, who my father mentions in this letter. I believe she is being targeted. But I cannot say more here.
Excuse me, sir.
Uh-oh. I'm gonna let this play out. Go ahead.
I don't know what you were thinking, but I just thought it might be a safer place to talk. We could have all gone in there, just not me and you. Make it a whole group thing.
Wow.
Wow.
Urzak also is
Danika.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I should ask for a deception or a persuasion check.
Or both. I
Let's just remember, I am eye level with a lot of stuff. That's all I want to say. Don't do that to me.
don't know. I got a 25 persuasion.
come on, man.
What?
Like his face is going beet red, but he says, "If we must talk, perhaps we talk at my home. It would be safer there."
Danica's gonna like brush her hair back. So you're inviting me back to your place.
I think she's had a bit too much to drink, sir. Normally, she's very much more composed.
It's
You know
okay,
what?
Short Stack. You're my number one.
Wow, now he's gonna get beat red. Wow. You know what, sir? I have never seen the home of a Burgermeister. I would be delighted. Thank you for the invitation. We can go to his home for tea, everybody.
Okay.
How's that sound?
I
We've
know,
been
I think the
invited to-
tea is happening here.
We've been invited for tea.
Oh, I thought you said a tease.
No, that's gonna happen later in Vide and Urzak's room.
Yeah, so the entire bar just turns and stares at Danika.
Danica's gonna raise her glass and she's gonna be like, I said I was good at music, not flirting.
Wow.
I mean, but you did roll a 25 persuasion, so he is saying if you want to talk, we should do it more privately. And he's trying to say that, but
yeah,
he's
let's-
obviously failing as well.
Yeah, let's just go.
Mhm,
Things
mhm.
will progress, sir, and they will follow. Don't worry. Let's just go.
I legitimately do not know what you mean in this.
Trust me, you just want to leave right now. It's okay. Corwan will put the mug back up there because a regular adult, normal human person-sized thing would probably give him alcohol poisoning. So he's just gonna sit it back up on the table. He's like, "That was delicious, by the way," and then he's gonna walk out. Tap Ismark on the. You're like, "Come on, let's go."
Yeah. Ismark for his part picks up his mug and drains it.
You know what? That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Delphine's gonna grab Vide by the elbow and kind of like get us to the back of the group, away from Ismark, who I'm sure is just gonna lead the way.
Yes. He is making his way up and around towards the door.
Yeah, Kaga walk with him.
And Vide will set his mug down and follow along with shit, I'm blanking on her name now.
Delphine?
Delphine, yes, Delphine. Sorry.
To give them cover in the conversation, Kaga be like, "So you've really never seen too many halflings around here? Wow!" And that's just he's gonna start chatting him up about that to, distract Ismark if you guys were gonna have a conversation.
Okay.
Danika wants to meet the Vistani before they leave.
Oh shit!
That's always a good sign. Oh, shit.
The Vistani are sitting there at the table. They seem like they're the ones in charge because they're certainly bossing around Eric behind the bar. So you get the sense that they're not going anywhere.
Danika's gonna sneak on over, and she's gonna introduce herself, and she's gonna be like, "I don't think I got to catch your names. My name is Danika," and she introduces herself.
The three of them kind of look at each other and look towards you and glance at your compatriots who all seem to be heading out. She looks at you and she says, the woman of the trio, she says, "Where are you all going? I thought you said you were going to perform for your rooms for the night."
Oh.
Yeah, that's
I
how
get-
I'm gonna. I'm gonna perform. I'm the performer. I'm here.
Well, we'll be back. I mean, it's like what, late morning, early afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only about like noonish right now.
Oh no, we'll be back. Yeah, we're just heading out on to the town for a bit. We'll be back
Well,
this evening. This
you're
is where
not
we're-
here. You're
Oh, I
walking
thought
with
he was. I
Ismark.
thought he hadn't left
No.
yet. I didn't know if they had gotten it to us. Okay.
Well, I'm basically gonna say the same thing that he just said.
Yeah, that's fine. Just make a persuasion check.
Okay, persuasion coming right up. Let's see. Let me find my sheet. Persuasion. A 14, which is equivalent to an 18.
Yep, I don't know why I bother asking. Just to see if you roll higher, basically.
Okay, so there it is. I got an 18, sir.
Yeah, I know. I'm rolling. Trying to. There we go. Huh. First one was higher. Anyway, so yeah, she says, "Very well. We will look forward to hearing you play. My name is Mirabel. This is my husband Alenka and my brother Sorvia."
Can you spell her husband's name?
And the two of them kind of nod at you. Yeah. Alenka is Alenka, her husband, and Sorvia is the brother.
So do y'all own this inn, or you guys just frequent here? Y'all travelers?
My husband and I own this inn. Yes.
Well, it's a beautiful inn.
Why, thank you. We put a lot of work into it. She says very snidely as some dust falls from the ceiling. The place is run down. It's barely being held together. It's, not looking great.
Well, that was from the heart. Okay, well, we'll be back later. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Be back before dark. It is dangerous in the town at night. And she sits back down. Now, as for the rest of you, you've all kind of made your way out into the village itself, and Danika comes scurrying along behind you. By this point, you can look around. Go ahead and give me a perception check, please.
All of us?
Yeah, anyone who wants to.
I got a 20.
I got a 2.
I did not mean to do advantage, but that is a 10.
Yeah, 10 for Cog as well.
19.
Unless you let me use my passive perception, which would be a 13.
This is more of a... Anyway. Delphine, Danika. Delphine, I feel like you would be the one who would be the first to spot this because you're the one the most curious. As you're stepping out from the inn, both the two of you are able to spot that walking down the street, probably no more than... Oh, I don't know. 120 or so feet from where you all are is there is Mrs. Morgan and Toby pushing that cart along. Toby's got one of the arms, Mrs. Morgan has the other, and the two of them are just kind of making their way back out the direction that they came in.
Is there a child anywhere nearby?
With that 20 perception, think about perspective. You're walking out the bar, you're looking towards the west, and you see their backs. They're pushing the cart along. You can see that the goblin is has his arms up, holding the one arm. She's holding the other. You can see a bit of the cart. You don't see a child anywhere on there. You can see that there is a large burlap sack hanging off of it, but other than that, you don't really see anything else.
I think this kind of goes in perfectly because I had pulled Vide kind of back a little bit to talk about that, kind of. So I can do weird shit. And I had Danika plant a token that would allow me to see and hear around Toby. Toby and the woman, Mrs. Morgantha, were... Morgan. Well, sorry, whatever. Morgan. Were... taking a child that didn't want to go somewhere. And, I got feelings of something very powerful that I have encountered in my childhood.
Are you suggesting that we follow them and maybe see what's going on?
I'm torn as to the fact that we are very beat up, very tapped.
This is very true.
And it's the middle of a city that we don't know. And that is a very powerful being that's walking down the street. I think what we should do is keep this information in our back pocket for maybe a tomorrow problem.
Okay. Do you have any way of looking in on them again?
Not until tomorrow.
Well, I guess we're just gonna have to hope that they're still within range tomorrow, but
they did say that they're outside of a city.
This is true. They did tell us pretty much where they are, so I don't think finding them is going to be much of a problem. But I do worry about just me and you trying to handle this. I feel like we're definitely going to need help.
Absolutely. And I know Urzak is tapped, and I'm sure everybody else is kind of tapped as well. It's been a morning.
Yes.
And Danika is very drunk.
This is also true. And I can only do so much. I will pat my gun. You know, we all know this will raise some eyebrows.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll definitely hold on to this, and then we'll have to. This will definitely have to be a tomorrow problem.
Have you pointed out to anybody else that you saw them?
Probably. You probably saw the look on Delphine's face when that moment of contemplation of going after them, or I'm about to just beeline.
I think Urzak takes that impulse because knowing that they're right there, and knowing that something has to be done. Like, otherwise, we don't know what's gonna happen to this kid. Urzak's gonna kind of like brisk pace, like take off down the street.
Oh, so you just...
Nope.
Urzak glances over at Delphine, takes in the face, and you just all see him take off running? Okay.
Okay, well, I guess this is a today problem instead of a tomorrow problem.
Like, he was fully okay to like leave it alone until he saw that they were right there.
Okay.
How far away are they?
You
Too
can
far.
probably
Too far.
like, yeah, they're like a couple 100 feet away at this point, making their
Re-
way out towards
Wait,
the edge of town.
Boss, remember that I have the city secret, so we can move twice as fast.
I just need to get within 90 feet.
Okay, before we get to that, Peak Chic Geek has redeemed a random common magical item. So, as Urzak goes charging off towards the western side of the street, like the rest of you are kind of standing there watching and like, what the hell? What? And then Urzak, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh,
Oh no.
spaghettios. This is not a disadvantage. I am still exhausted. Whoa, that's a natural 20.
Oh,
Wow.
Yes!
Okay.
like to think while this is going on, like Cog's just having this conversation with Ismark walking down the street.
So,
Singing
Ur-
to a
yeah.
dead-
Urzak, you're running and you just you kind of stumble over something. There's a rock there in the road and your foot hits it and you just kind of stumble for a moment, but you are able to keep your feet and keep going, and you're just running while the rest of your friends are kind of hurrying to catch up behind you. They spot on the ground it's not a rock that you kicked up. It seems to be a brooch of some type.
This could be our tomorrow problem. Finding out what this is.
I think your tomorrow problem's about to be
I mean-
burying Urzak.
I mean, that's really a 10 minutes from now problem.
This is, well, I mean, 10 minutes from after we deal with this problem.
Well,
We should probably follow Urzak.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I mean,
you grab the brooch?
Yeah, we'll grab it. All right. Do you want to go with us on this, Ismark? Do you want to? I don't know what's about to happen. Probably something bad.
I also don't know what was about to happen.
Yeah, he's just kind of watching this whole thing.
Your
yes,
position of authority might be helpful in this instance.
Yes, let us follow your friend. And Urzak, you're the first one to catch up to him. Obviously, everyone else is, probably sick of you. But you go racing towards Mrs. Morgan and Toby as they're cranking this wagon down the road. What are you doing?
I kind of slow my pace a little bit as I get closer, and I kind of like recognizing that like the face that I'm making right now is like a I'm gonna kill somebody face. I quickly like change expression to like I'm trying to catch somebody on the street, and I go, Mrs. Morgan.
She kind of jumps a little bit and looks back, and Toby looks back at you, and she says, "Oh, yes, yes, dear. Yes. What can I do for you? Would you like to buy a drink? Would you like to buy a pastry?
Yes, actually, I would.
Oh, yes, of course, of course. Let me get that for you. And Toby, put down the cart. Put down the cart. The goblin, and she sets down the cart. And as she's walking by, she just smacks the burlap sack a little bit with her arm, and it just kind of jerks a little bit as she walks by. And then she you watch as there's only a handful of pastries left on her cart. She picks up one of them and begins packaging it, and she turns and says, "That'll be 1 gold piece, my dear."
Sure. And as she turns around and she is looking away from me, or as they're both looking away from me, I kind of look back at everybody here's the distraction. Do something.
Yeah.
Are we really doing that?
You're all running up towards them as well. So what's going on?
No.
I don't have the strength to grab that burlap sack.
Of course,
I'm the only
does.
strong one here.
No,
Danica's
got decent strength, did she?
I've probably got shitty strength, but Danika is gonna walk over with Urzak. Can I do that? I'm doing it. Danika's with Urzak.
Yeah, you can hurry and get up close as well. It's like I said, it only took 6 seconds to come chasing after him.
And Danika is going to act drunk off her ass.
In quotes.
Act.
And she's gonna be like, "Is that you, Mrs. Morgan? Is that you, Toby?"
While Danica is adding even more distraction, I'm just gonna open the burlap sack.
So you're just running over and grabbing the sack to open it?
Yeah. All I gotta do is see what's inside.
Okay. As you go running over to the sack, you grab onto it, and immediately Toby is there, and he kind of smacks your hand away. What are you doing? Leave that alone. That's not for sale.
Danika's gonna start dry heaving.
Give me a performance check, Danika.
Where are you going with this? Oh, yeah. It's an 18.
No, that's
only for persuasion.
No, that's only
it's
persuasion or deception.
Yeah.
Why can't it be deception?
Because that's not what you're doing here. You're making a performance of being sick for them, and she's looking at you very strangely at this point, and she says, "I think you need to get your friend out of here. She's not looking well. I don't know what this. What is all this?"
I think she ate your pie.
Well, I doubt that very much.
Despite the slap from Toby, I'm still just gonna try and open the burlap sack.
Okay. I'm gonna need you to make a athletics check as he shoves you away.
I'm trying not to use spells, but I will if I have to. Oh, it's a 4. I'm a wizard, guys. I'm a wizard. I'm just trying to open a bag.
You walk up towards the bag again, and Toby just shoves you as hard as he can, and you're pushed back and land on your rump. He's like,
Don't waste a spell slot on being petty.
Or
What are you all
being petty?
No,
Or
stop
do,
that.
maybe.
Danika is just gonna start crying. She's gonna be like, all I wanted was to go on a nice date today, and I got turned down I don't know how many times, and it's just my heart. I cannot take it. Toby, do you want to go on a date with me?
Wow.
I don't think Delphine knows where to look right now.
And
Toby looks at you and this is getting a little too weird for me right now. I think you all need to go. And the Mrs. Morgan looks over at Ismark and she says, "Ismark the Lesser, I shouldn't have known that these idiots would be friends of yours. You are a shadow of your father, and these companions you seem to be keeping are just the same as you. Drunkards, vagabonds. Is this how you plan on running this town?"
I mean, it's better than being. It's better than being a kidnapper.
Kidnapper? Where do you get the nerve of that? I've never
Why
napped
don't you
any
show us
kids
what's
in
the
my...
bag? No.
It's none of your business.
Play the card, or
Yeah, Big Green, why don't you see what's in the bag? You know what? If there's nothing in it to be feared, we will leave you alone. In fact, I will buy 2 of your delicious pies if you let us check the bag.
we will buy the rest of your stock.
Well, all right, seriously. I mean,
I do.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. You got to make a you need to make a persuasion check at disadvantage because this
I'm on
woman
it. I am on it.
is not vibing with this
Oh,
at all.
I guess,
God damn it.
So I have an 18 and an 18.
Yeah.
I just feel like an 18 is just not gonna do it.
Mm-mm. No, this is a capital HAG.
She looks over at Ismark and she says, "If this is really the way you're going to run this town, then I will not be bringing my pastries here again. Is that really what you want, Ismark?" And Ismark kind of says, "Look, just let them look in the sack. That is all they are asking." The old woman pulls at the sack for a moment, but then says, "Toby, give it to them." Toby walks over and picks up the burlap sack off of the cart and very full-bodedly throws it at you, Danika. Make a dexterity saving throw.
Why is he? What did I
was he making making a run for it? After he
No,
throws
he
the-
threw it at her.
do? Why is everybody so mean to poor Danica?
Oh!
I got a 26.
Not only do you dodge the attack, you actually grab the burlap sack with your arms and able to cradle it so that it doesn't hit the ground with that nat 20. You can feel wiggling and squirming inside, bony arms and legs, and it in that moment your mind goes back to the orphanage, the one where you had grown up, the one that you now support as its patron.
Oh,
And
no.
all those times that you had been just there dropping off some money, some kid comes up, you cradle them in your arms, they're squirming about. It evokes that same imagery for half a second as you grab that thing and kind of skid back a little bit. Mrs. Morgan says, "Toby, grab the cart!" And then she goes storming off in the opposite direction, heading towards the side of town. Toby grabs the cart and he looks back at the rest of you. That was not very smart. and
Why
he
is that?
turns
Danika,
and he pushes up the cart. And like you notice that when he does that, like he was struggling when he was working with Mrs. Morgan, but in this moment he just pushes and lifts it up and goes walking off.
Danika like yells back to him, I didn't want to go on a date with you anyway.
Miss Morgan, before she like turns and walks away.
Mm-hmm.
One, I'm mean mugging her, real bad, but also with like that look of, I know, or I think I know.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna say anything. Just giving her a look.
She glances back and your eyes meet. And you see them narrow for half a second as she regards you. But she does seem to walk away. But there is a clocking there.
What was that about?
Just, she knows I know, and she knows what I am.
Danika opens the sack.
But I kind of like nod my head toward Ismark, like this isn't a conversation I want to have right here.
Oh, he's been clocking this whole thing. And Danika, as you open up the sack, you can see that there is a small human child in there, a boy. Dark brown hair, dark eyes, snotty nose. You guess no more than 6 or 7. And he just kind of looks up at you with big, fearful eyes.
Hey, little buddy. We got you back from that nasty old lady.
He kind of looks up at you. Who are you?
I'm just a traveling musician. Who are you?
My name is Deros. And what are you going to do with me?
Oh, do you have a house or anything? Can we escort you back home?
I live down the road that way.
Is it safe for you to go home?
Make a persuasion check.
A 24.
You see his eyes kind of go downcast. He says, my mother and father gave me to the witch. They owe her a lot of money. And they had no money left.
Oh no.
So she took me in payment instead. The pie seller will only be back tomorrow to claim me again.
Oh no. Guys, what do we do?
How much is
Can't hear you, Brandie.
How much is a lot?
The child kind of shrugs a little bit. I don't know. Much more than Mommy and Daddy had. The dream pastries, they are expensive. The Mommy and Daddy, they eat one as often as they can.
Okay, there's definitely something up with these pastries then.
Most definitely.
Sorry, I think Cog had like a thing.
Maybe too late now, but we'll see.
What's
How
up?
far away is Toby?
How far away was Toby?
How far away is he now? Is he like
Is he
full
now?
gone? Or
I mean,
it's full gone.
yeah, like you can trap if you're making a full dash. You're running 60 feet a second.
feet? No, 25.
Yeah, definitely not 25.
So it'd be
feet.
50. Because I was going to use my net 20 to intimidate him. Then I was going to have him command to go bite the hag on the ass, but it's not going to happen now. It was going to be fun. If it
That's
works.
a stretch.
Hey, command. It's a one-word command, and if he failed, after I intimidated him with a nat 20, hopefully he'd be afraid. And I'd have him go bite her on the
Well.
ass, but it won't happen now.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, I suppose we can always try it. I'm down.
Nah,
but
he's
yeah.
gone. He's gone. If I read next time, I'll try then. I promise.
Fair enough.
Well, all right. So your parents gave you up. That's terrible. We're not going to have you go back to them tonight unless you want to go home. You could stay with us for the night.
I have a dumb idea.
Do you want to give him back to the people that just sold him? For
No.
a pie? For a pie?
That wasn't my dumb idea. That's an even dumber idea than my dumb idea.
Well, then what do you want to do with him? Maybe, do you think Mary would take him in?
That's what I was thinking. Maybe it'll cheer her up a little bit to have somebody else to care for
hey,
again.
your daughter's dead. Maybe here's a kid.
You know, it's something to keep her busy and her mind occupied.
The mention
until we
of
can find her
Mary.
daughter.
The mention of Mary makes Ismark kind of look over at you. Mary? You mean Mad Mary?
She didn't seem that mad. She was just sad.
Oh my God! Let me. You're about to tell me her daughter's been dead for like 20 years, aren't you?
Her daughter. No
Yeah.
one knows for sure whether or not she has a daughter.
Oh, that's wonderful. You see, this is why
Mary.
we don't go to people's crying houses, all right? In the future.
Mary has always been a strange one. She keeps her house boarded up. She very rarely comes out. When she does, she comes for supplies and things like that. And occasionally she is seen in her garden in the back. But the daughter, she says she has a daughter. But nobody has seen her. Nobody has seen the child. If it exists, it's kept in the house at all times.
Well, you know what? It sounds like it's a safe house. It's boarded up. Hopefully the hag won't get to it.
I mean, unless, Ismark, you're willing to take in the child.
That was my next line of questioning, yeah.
Let us go to my house and speak more. Once you understand,
Sorry, what was this kid's name again?
Deros.
yeah, Deros, Deros.
Okay.
He says, let's go to my house. I suppose it's mine after all now. Once you understand the situation, you may have second thoughts of leaving a child with me. But let us go. He is suggesting you to bring the kid along with you, but at least let's head to his mansion for now. And he's kind of gesturing down the southern road towards the very large building at the back end of this village. And so you all make your way down. I assume after, letting the poor kid out of the sack and all that.
No, I'm carrying him in the sack, still tied around his neck.
Yeah, that sounds about right. The 7 of you now begin to make your way down the city street of Jova towards a very large building. Well, large for this area. Most of the houses that seem to be 2 stories are more like townhouses, very small, cramped, pushed together. This house, on the other hand, is actually quite wide and does have 2 stories on it. The house itself is a weary-looking mansion that squats behind a rusted iron fence. The iron gates are twisted and torn. The right gate lies cast aside, while the left swings lazily in the wind. The stuttering squeal and clang of the gate repeats with mindless precision as you all approach. You can see that the yard, as much of it as it is filled with weeds that choke the grounds and press with menace upon the house itself. Yet, against the walls around the building, the growth has been tramped down to create a path all about the domain. You can see heavy claw marks that have stripped the once beautiful finish off of the walls. Great black marks tells of fires that has assaulted the mansion numerous times. Not a pane nor a shard of glass stands in any window. All of the windows are barred with planks, each one's marked with stains of evil omen. As you're approaching, Ismark watches you all take in his family home, and he kind of sighs a little bit, and he says, There was a time that this was a beautiful, beautiful building, but those times long since passed. But it looks much worse over the last. It is looking a much more worse now than it did a week ago. As I said, there is very, very dire circumstances. But please, come inside. Come inside. And he leads you over to the front door. He then knocks. He pauses, waits for half a second, and then the exact same amount of tapping. After a moment, you see the door open just a crack and an eye appear from the other side. Bright blue. You hear, Ismark, is that you? Oh, I was so worried about you. The door opens and you see another human, which I will go ahead and show you now.
Look at that sword.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool picture. She's not actually wearing the plate armor, but you see a young woman with darkish brown hair and bright blue eyes pulling the door open. She's shorter than her brother. Her brother stands about 6'2", and he's actually decently built now that you've actually been walking alongside next to him. His sister, however, is slim and petite. Barely more than 5'3", 5'4". She's wearing a very high-collared gown of bright blue fabric that matches her eyes, and you can tell that it's extremely well cared for, though very obviously been stitched and restitched numerous times. The smile on the face, though, just kind of warms all of you as she looks upon her brother and she says, Ismark, where have you been? And who is all of... where are all of these people from? Ismark kind of smiles at her and he says, everyone, this is my sister, Irina. These are travelers, sister. These are travelers from afar. I have offered to bring them in for tea. Could you help with this, please? And Irina just kind of smiles even bigger and she says, of course, brother, of course. I would be very happy to. Please come in, everyone, quickly. And she kind of opens the door a little wider and kind of ushers you all inside.
As we're going in, Danika's gonna nudge Cog and she's gonna go, ain't he a tall pale glass of handsome?
Sure.
You just don't get it.
I mean, obviously the tall part, no. I think I broke her.
Cog makes me want to take the enlarge spell just for Cog.
I just want to lift him and like pretend he's like a little airplane, like.
He's slamming like never pick up a halfling. We are very sensitive about that.
Is it your underarms?
I am 112 years old. You know that, right? I've told you this.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I have said it more than once.
I have selective hearing. Okay, we going for tea. We're ready.
He's just sitting there fixing his outfit.
The shirt says "Hands off, Danika."
Putting his gear back into place. He's like, just grabs his symbol of Yandala. He's like, oh, I really need you right now.
Give me strength.
You think we can get some more of that Vishtanti wine for our trip?
Oh, she sloshed. Oh, no.
Yeah, she's definitely sloshed. And even Ismark is kind of giving her a very odd sort of look as he ushers you all inside his family home. Now, the interior of the mansion is well furnished, yet the fixtures show great signs of wear and tear. There are noticeable oddities. The noticeable oddities are the boarded up windows and the presence of holy symbols in every single room. You're led from the main foyer into a side room where there is a couple of couches, an end table, a very large fireplace that does have a small fire built up in it. And the room is actually moderately warm and cozy. The first time you've actually been in a cozy area since coming into this area. You all are brought in, and Ismark says, please sit down. Irina, you go and prepare the tea while the travelers and I speak. What's that, Cog?
I guess, is Irina, I mean, because we know in this letter it said she has a wound. She suffered some kind of a grievous wound. Is there any kind of indication about it? Is she, like, overly pale? I mean, everybody here is probably pale. But is she, like, extra pale? Is she like, limping at all? Is she doing anything like that weird?
Go ahead and make a medicine check.
Ooh, you know what? Since it's near the end, I'll burn the 20. Because this is kind of his thing. He is a cleric. He's a cleric of life, too. And so he's really giving her the look. As soon as he heard the name, Isrina, he goes, okay, what's going on here?
Okay. So with that nat 20, as you're all being ushered into this room, you have a chance to really examine this this young woman here. She is very, very pale. Like, you have seen some people here before. Ismark himself is relatively pale, but she is absolutely much more pale than her brother. Her cheeks are sallow. Her eyes are sunken in. You can tell that she doesn't look the best, and she doesn't feel all that great, but she's putting on a brave sort of face and trying to play the hostess. But you can tell she does not feel well. She seems to be moving lethargically. And you can't, like I mentioned, she's wearing a high-collared gown. But as she turns and moves, you can see that there is a little bit of a scar right there on the side of her neck. Just a little bit of, it almost looks like a puncture wound.
As she leaves the room, he's gonna all right, it's Mark. My name is Corwan Oliver Goodwood. I am a cleric of life in the service of the Lady Undala from our world. At least I will say from our land, because we don't know exactly how we got here, but when was your sister bitten? I know the signs. When was she bitten, sir?
Make a persuasion with advantage.
Oh, shit, 20.
20. Ismark sits down in a chair, kind of in between the two couches in the end table. He sighs very wearily, and in this moment you can kind of see that his guard is being let down a little bit. He says to you, as close as I can tell, 2 days ago. That is when I first noticed the way she was acting. She slept in much later. I'm sorry, not 2 days. 5 days ago. 5 days ago. That is when I first noticed. My father, I brought it up to him. He examined my sister. My sister, she said it was a bug bite and she felt fine. My father didn't want to press, but the next day, she was acting even worse.
She hasn't fully turned yet. So I have to imagine that the creature that bit her has to maybe do it again? Who? Do you know who did this?
He kind of chuckles a very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? I just blanked on the word. Rueful. That's the word I was looking for. The very rueful chuckle. Everyone knows who did this. There is but one. You see, this land Barovia, it is ruled by a tyrant, a devil known as Strahd von Sauvage.
Oh, we've heard of him.
He is an undead unlike any other. He feeds upon this land It is his. He controls everything. I am the bearer of very bad news. You all, he looks to you all. You all are stuck here. Any who comes to this land, they do not leave. The devil controls everything. He controls the mist. He allows in who he wants, and he never, ever lets them leave. All the people in this land are playthings for him. My father, he used to call us cattle. I have spent my adult life training, hoping one day I could confront and kill this demon. And now he has targeted my sister. He is the only one who could do this. He claims who he wishes. Everyone knows this and lives in constant fear. Go ahead. You're muted.
Is your family especially marked by him? Is that why he chose your sister, or?
I have no idea why he chose Irina. He feeds where he wishes.
I mean, is this how your father came to pass away?
He kind of sighs a little bit and he says, "This is my belief. I was away one night, and when I came home, my sister told me of somebody, something, banging on the doors, banging on the windows, trying to come in. My father is very old. He's always had a weak heart. I found no marks on his body. It makes me think he was attacked by anything. I believe the stress of the knowledge of what is happening to Irina did him in." And then he pulls out that letter. "You found these. You found these. He must have given it to somebody. Sent them for help. These Van Richten you speak of, I do know this name. My father spoke of him many times. He and two others attempted to lead a revolution against Strahd some 34 years ago, just before I was born. These three are said to have failed miserably, but it came during a time when the devil was on the rampage, killing wantonly. He swore to kill all of humanity in his realm. But when confronted by Van Richten and his companions, the devil stopped. No one knows why the devil swore to kill humanity or why he discontinued this pursuit.
And your father believes this Van Richten is still alive. That's why he sent the letter?
My father, he always said he knew Van Richten. He said to me once, one night, he was very drunk and I was young, but he said to me that Van Richten survived somehow. That he escaped Strahd. That he convinced Strahd to give up his war on humanity.
Huh. It makes me think your father had a way to hurt him. But this Van Richten, could hurt him. But maybe he didn't have the army to do it. But what? He got him to stop somehow. Well, if we're stuck here, as you say, I mean, we might as well help.
He kind of chuckles at that and he says, "That is admirable, my friend, but that is not why I approached you. My sister, Irina, she means the world to me. She cared for our father as he got older. I would love to join you and stand up to Strahd, but I cannot do so while my sister is in danger. I approached you because the devil does not allow his people to molest travelers who come to his domain. It is well known that no Barovian can actively hinder those that travel here from other realms. And so I wish to ask you to take Irina from here. Get her somewhere safe."
Do you have a suggestion? Well, like I said, we are very new.
There is a town far on the other side of the valley. The town is called Aljiba. My father spoke of it once, said that there is a great abbey, an abbey to the Morning Lord. The town has high walls and is defended, and it is the farthest town away from the site of Castle Ravenloft. If my sister will be safe anywhere, she would be safe there. The name of the town is Aljiba. Aljiba.
I like algebra.
Yeah, I like algebra too, but it's Aljiba.
I mean, we didn't really have a destination before. I guess we do now. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, if we're trapped here,
Might as well do some good.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the Conclave members, we are all taught in the field. It's like you got to keep moving towards a solution, figure out the problem. Well, we've got a problem now. We got to work to solve it.
Are we gonna bring Diros to Algebra with us? Algebra.
Yeah, the little kid's just kind of sitting there listening to this whole thing. His eyes are big and wide, and he's like, "You are going to fight the devil?"
Goddamn right.
I mean, if
Did you turn your hat around backwards when you said that? Jeez.
it will take a lot of restraint not to fight the devil.
This kid doesn't know what to think. His just jaws dropped, his eyes are big, and he's just staring at all of you. And I think that's an excellent place to end things for this evening.
What a day.
Yeah.
That,
a
We'll
day.
find out next time. Oh, I won't be here next time.
Oh no! Do we have to stop?
Well, it is 9:14, and I would like to go to bed at some point tonight.
At like 10?
At like 10.
Oh.
Well, I don't hear anybody else chiming in, so I think we're good for today.
Yeah, I'm spent.
Okay.
That's okay. But thank you to everyone who watched this evening. We very much appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with us. It was a weird one. It was an emotional roller coaster, but hey, our players are still alive, so that's a good thing. And that allows us to find out what happens in 2 weeks when we come back for another episode of Sonnet of Blood. Now, as always, I go around the table and tell everybody to introduce themselves and tell us where we can find them on the internet. And, how did you like this crazy game we just played? Let's go clockwise today and start with Brandie.
Hey, I'm Brandie. You can find me here every Monday at 3 p.m. playing everyone's favorite turtle monk in the Debauchery Circus campaign. I'm also here, obviously, every other Wednesday playing Vide on, Curse of Strahd. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok is at RiverDragon82. That's River with a Y. Gotta be creative. But yeah, this is a pretty good, pretty fun episode. I had a lot of fun tonight.
Awesome. Marty, you're next.
Hey, so I'm Marty. You can find me on social media platforms at Balmartian. You can also find me right here every other Wednesday, except next every other Wednesday. I will be gone next time. But you can also find me on Bard Rock Cafe in their various projects. You can check out my personal actual play, Wayfaring Strangers, with my band, Winter Wayfarer. Yeah, this episode, I think, broke my brain. I think I need to go to bed.
Probably. Yeah. Dyto.
I am Dyto. You can find me on Twitter at Dyto11. You can also find me here every other Wednesday, as well as over on Lost Caravan, where I do a bunch of streaming, or I'm just hanging out in chat. I agree. Tonight broke my brain, but in a good way. And encountering a little bit of her backstory was like, I knew it was gonna happen, but I wasn't expecting it to happen now. And Danika, I love you. I love Danika. Never change.
I love you too.
It's like never change.
Okay. Well, great segue. Let's move over to Natalie.
Hi, my name's Natalie. You can find me on Twitter as Batty Baby. Or you can find me here every other Wednesday playing Danika. Tonight's session was great. I had lots of fun. Consent is sexy, even if you're asking a goblin for a hug. Even if you really want to hug him without his permission.
Wow.
Okay.
It's a goblin, okay?
Was that
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah, just keep shoveling there, Natalie. Joe, how about you?
Where do I go from there? Well, I am.
You can only go down.
Yeah, pretty much. Everybody, it's
Crazy.
7. I am the Spec Zero Granger, Blood from Stone, the best character on the best show, by the way. That's right. On Twitter, I am It's Blood from a Stone with a 0 and from. I don't really tweet much. Don't really do anything like that. But this week was crazy. Cog got to be his normal self. I mean, that flaw is not going away because it wasn't a flaw. It is a fucking character defining point in Cog. He is the boss of the group, and it's going to continue that way.
Okay. Well, I am Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and GM here on the Random Rhapsody Network. You can follow me on the tweets and the instas as @ScruffyWanderer. And besides running and playing games here on this network, you can also find me on the Transverses All on the Table TTRPG content. Also, in a couple days, on Saturday the 24th, I'm going to be over on the Lost Caravan RPG playing my favorite gnome rogue, Heracles Peridot, a little bumbling investigator working alongside the Myth crew for another mystery. It's going to be a lot of fun. So come check me out there on Saturday the 24th over on Lost Caravan RPG. And so, on behalf of everyone here in the cast and crew, I would just like to say thank you, folks. It's been a delight. So long. Good luck. And until next time, may you live until you die. Good night, everybody.
Bye.